In that game seven, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who was, kind of carrying the Flyers and keeping them alive. I mean, Steve Mason was playing lights out in that game. And, the Flyers, I mean, in the second period, they fell to a 2-0 lead in that game seven. And, it was unfortunate, too. I mean, it was poor defense. It was, just the Rangers that, clearly looking dominant in that period and, looking like they were going to score and getting it by Steve Mason, doing all he could in that game. He was a highlight reel in he made a lot of incredible saves. And I mean, I guess, it might sound cliche, but the two goals weren't really his fault, that were scored on him in that game. And it's definitely a shame because, the third period, the Flyers came out, all guns a-blazing and really knocking on the door. They make it, they make it 2-1, but they just could not finish the job and tie the game. And, the Flyers fell 2-1 to the Rangers. But, as the analysts were saying after the game, it could have been a 7-0 game had it not been for Steve Mason really playing lights out in that game seven. And, I guess if there's some positives you can take from this season, it's that, the Flyers may now have a stable goaltending situation, which, in recent years has been definitely been an issue of concern. It does seem like, Steve Mason is a solid, top 10 goaltender in the NHL. Definitely really seemed to show in Game 7. And, I think we can, and Ray Emery is, he's a solid backup, I guess you could say. So, I mean, as far as the goaltending situation goes, I definitely think, we're, definitely you go with, Steve Mason is kind of the guy next season, that we're he's kind of like Nick Foles in a way of the Flyers.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I mean, he's, Steve Mason had a good showing this year and, go with him as the starting goaltender next season and, see if the decent play can continue. And again, I mean, I think he's a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. He's still fairly young too. So, I mean, he could maybe even be a little better than that. And, had he maybe have had more defensive help at times and, I mean, the Flyers have, Kipo Timonen, who's, I believe, 39, going on 40. He's debating whether he's going to retire this season. They're paying Vinny Lecavalier $4.5 million a year, which, in the NHL, that's pretty high money. But, a lot of games he's playing less ice time than Zach Rinaldo, who's making much less. And, Scott Hartnell's, showing his age, who's also getting paid a lot. He's getting paid like Vinny Lecavalier money as well. And, he's starting to look like he's finished. And, as far as money goes, I mean, the way the Flyers have to pay guys, and Vinny Lecavalier, he has a no trade clause, and this is, he's got another 4 years on his deal, and it's definitely a bit troublesome as far as how the money is spent right now, and the staying under the cap limit. I don't know. It does make it a little tough for the Flyers in some ways that they're binded to some of these guys who are making a lot of money, and makes it harder for them to make room for perhaps other talent that is maybe not past their prime. With all due respect.